This podcast is brought to you in part by P&P Games, your online source for everything video games. Visit their website at pnpgames.com or at their 2 retail locations in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Had to start this one a little bit different. Welcome to the Nintendo Pulse Podcast, everybody. This is episode number 54, recording on July 25th, 2013. And I thought I'd start the show off, excuse me, with a little bit of Star Fox. This is the Star Fox theme from Super FX, from their new album that just hit last week called Press Start. It's 15 tracks of video game love, $10 on Bandcamp. We'll post links in the show notes. They're a local band. They are insanely talented. So if you like video game music, you gotta check it out. We'll probably end out the show with a little bit of their music as well. But wanted to give them some props. They got some good stuff. They're talented, Steven.
I think so too. Played a few songs for me before the show, and I enjoyed them a great deal.
Yeah, they're.
I will be going to Bandcamp and buying it when you post the link.
They're really good. So if you guys buy it from Bandcamp, make sure to put in the notes that you've heard about it on the VG Podcast Network, because I told them that I'd be talking about the album a few times on the shows. Just curious to see how many of you people love the music. It's pretty heavy. It's kind of like a metal redone versions of all these tracks, but they're really, really good. I think we'll end off the show with Big Blue or something, or Mute City from F-Zero, or maybe Sonic, just for you, Steven. I don't know. We'll figure it out when we get to the end of the show. Anyway, let's get into the show. This is the Nintendo Pulse Podcast, as I said. Try to do this for you every week, talking about Nintendo. We love Nintendo. Steven loves Nintendo more than I do. That's a lie.
More than you do? Really?
That's
I must love them a great deal.
That's a lie. I just wanted to say that. But yeah, it's the Pulse episode 54. Steven, how you feeling?
I'm doing all right, thanks. It's nice to be doing the show a little bit earlier than usual.
Yeah, unfortunately, Jared, who's my host for Touch of Gaming, couldn't do a show this week, so we had to shuffle some things around. I had 2 potential guest hosts lined up, and I got 2 last-minute cancellations. So I ended up at about... When did I text you this afternoon? Was it 3 o'clock my time or 4 o'clock my time, something like that?
Yeah, it was only a couple of hours ago. It wasn't that long.
Yeah, it's all right, guess we can do this one early. And you're like, yep, giddy up, let's go. So Here we are. All right, let's get into the show, man. I thought I had an announcement this week, but we've had so many problems with the show notes this morning, I'm not even going to think about it. Steven, what have you been playing?
Of course, a lot of Animal Crossing New Leaf. It's tapering down a little bit. I'm playing less of it.
What?
Well, I think my attention is focused on other things, namely the Virtual Console release on Wii U of Earthbound, which I've been playing a lot. And I really thought this was going to be yet another Virtual Console game that I play for maybe an hour, and then never pick up again, because I have a lot of those on Wii. And on Wii U, because a lot came out for 30 cents that I really have no interest in playing. But, it was one of those things where I expected that it couldn't even come close to living up to the hype. And I think, I did play Earthbound emulated a few years ago, but just very, very briefly. And I was just not particularly impressed at the time. But I've been playing it entirely on the gamepad. And almost entirely in bed, and I'm just hours and hours and hours into this game now. I've just reached Fourside, which is the, I guess the 4th major area of the game. But there's other areas in between, and then there's Winters and stuff like that where Jeff comes from. But it's really it's just a crazy good game, and so unassuming, and so there's no real feeling of tension in the game. It's not stressful. It's not particularly difficult. It's great. The only problem I have, though, is I haven't been able to find that guide that Nintendo remade and scanned or whatever they did for it. I have no idea where it is, and I've been doing Google searches to try and figure out how to find it.
Don't you just get it off the home menu?
Anywhere.
Don't you like hit the home button on your Wii U and then it shows up as one of the menu items, like where manual usually shows up?
I touched manual and it's just the manual, and it doesn't appear to be anywhere in the manual.
That's so bizarre.
Yeah. Huh. So I didn't know if maybe it was on a website somewhere. So I did a Google search for it, and I found Nintendo's page crowing about how now Earthbound is out, and they've scanned in the guide or whatever, and it's available and stuff like that. But it doesn't say where to find it. I mean, it must be someplace really obvious. So they don't think they need to tell us where it is. But I don't see anybody else being unable to find it. So
weird. I was sure that it was in the home menu, but maybe not. It must be somewhere else. Bizarre.
Yeah. But anyway, I've been using the guide on starman.net, the walkthrough guide on there to get through the game. And it's been very useful because it tells me, okay, use Psy ice on, or whatever it is, Psy freeze or whatever on the crocodiles and stuff, and it'll kill them really fast.
Right.
So stuff like that.
Very cool. I still haven't picked it up yet. It's one of those ones that I keep meaning to, but I just find other things to do, and I eventually will own it, even though it is $10. But it's games like that I want to show my kids. Like, I think my son's still too young, so maybe in a couple of years we'll play it. So I'll pick it up sometime and then do that. But yeah, it's.
Someone tweeted a review of the game from 1995.
I saw that. That was hilarious.
It was complaining about it not being violent enough.
Yeah. If they added some guns,
can't stand cute. Yeah.
Got rid of the pastel color scheme and added some guns, they might have something on their hands. But as for right now, it's a mixture of, what is it? Gummy bears meets Muppet Babies or something like two.
Yeah, and they gave it like
or something.
a 6. They gave it a 6 or something like that, which was too funny.
And the funny thing is, they had a sidebar with review scores from other people, and they were 9s and 8s.
Yeah, I saw an 8. I think 8 was the highest I saw down there. They were somebody, some other writer must have been like, "You're crazy. This game is great." But,
oh, so funny. Yeah, it's amazing when you see, like, or you look at the Miiverse, and you just see people that are having problems in weird areas, and it's just like, holy crap, people are so used to being handheld these days with games that, like, even my kids, like, I think the games that they play on their iPads, or my iPad or things like that, they're so easy to play, and they're so focused on making it a good experience for everybody. So there's hand holding throughout the whole game. That, like, I'll buy like an old DS title or an old Game Boy Advance title for my kids, and they get to a point where they don't know what to do, and they come, "Dad, how do I get through this?" And before I would like take it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, you go here, do this." But lately, I'm just like, you know what? You're old enough. Go figure it out for yourself. That's what I did when I was a kid. We didn't have people to go ask. My parents never played games, so they'll go and they'll bat their head a little bit and bang it against the wall or whatever, and then finally they get through it and they're so happy. But their first instinct is to go ask for help, because every other game they play, it's help is ready and there, and if there's not a golden trail leading them down the path, there's signs everywhere. Like, it's such a different world these days. I find that kind of funny.
It is. It's really interesting. I have a lot of trouble getting my daughter to actually play the games when they become difficult. She just gives up on them as soon as there's a bit of a challenge there. She really likes Sonic the Hedgehog, and I have a lot of Sonic games, obviously. I have all of my Genesis, and I have the Sonic collection. The PlayStation 3 collection has like 40 Genesis and Master System games on it. And I have the Sonic Advance games and Sonic Colors for DS, Sonic Rush for DS. And she'll play them, and after about 5 to 10 minutes, she'll hit a point where she has to do something tricky, like jump to a high platform. And she hands it to me and says, "Can you do this for me?" And if I do it for her, she'll go on a little bit. Foreman just said she'll go on a little further, and then she'll reach another even more difficult point, and she'll just give up, play something else. So
yeah, it
goes back to Nintendogs.
Yeah.
Plus cats.
Yeah. Plus cats. Cool. So besides Earthbound, anything else new? You're playing the photography game. I've noticed on your
just
blog.
taking a lot of pictures of my boxed Castlevania games. I have four, and I actually mentioned you earlier because I got two of those from you. Just photographed them up nicely for the blog, and
Nice.
pretty much it. I got some decals in the mail from Redbubble.
I gotta get that book to you at some point.
Yeah,
Keep forgetting.
Some
Nice.
decals from Redbubble.
Those are nice.
Totally bootleg. Gotta be illegal. Fan art from various games. So.
Very nice. Very nice. Cool. All right. So for myself, I'm assuming you're done.
I am.
All right. So I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing, just like you, lots, but don't really need to get too much into it other than my TIY opened this morning. So I have the second to last store iteration. So that's the one that combines the...
Mine's opening tomorrow.
Oh, really? So yeah.
Well, I'm assuming tomorrow because it's covered up today.
Yeah, one day. So the flower shop and everything else is all together. Really nice. Now you get to buy some of the more expensive, rarer items. Like for this morning, I had a white katana, and so I went to go pick it up, and it was like 64,000 bells. It's like, oh, all right, that's a little bit expensive, or 49,000 bells, or something crazy. It was a lot. Where most things are like 2,000 or something. So, so I'm looking forward to some of the really interesting items showing up. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing still racking in like 2 hours a day. It's weird. It's kind of my thing that I do first thing in the morning, and then sometimes if I go for lunch and I'm sitting in my car eating or whatever, I'll flip it open and play half hour at lunch, and then I play when I get home, and then I play at night. I've been doing 11 p.m. Bug runs, so I hit there at 11 because the bugs are just crazy, so I can fill up with the really expensive beetles in like a half hour, fill up my whole basket or whatever to send back to town, and then I travel back to town, and then first thing in the morning I have like 350,000 bells worth of stuff to sell, and it's just it's so much fun. I really dig the game. So besides that, I've been playing some Shin Megami Tensei 4, going slow with that one because it is kind of annoying getting out of Animal Crossing to do anything else that on my DS. I might have to pick up another 3DS just to play other games and have one specifically for Animal Crossing. No, I'm just kidding. I will never do that. But it almost would make sense just because of all the stuff. It's crazy getting out of games. So Shin Megami Tensei has been going really good, loving it. It's still really hard, but I've been taking it slowly and leveling up and stuff. Really digging it. And today I went by P&P Games, the store that we all love here on the network, and I picked up a copy of TMNT for the Game Boy Advance. This one actually came out in 2001, so it's, I guess, last year of really big releases on Game Boy Advance, and I picked it up for $10. It was like $11.95, and then I'm a member of their XP club, so I get 10% off. So it was like $10.70 plus tax, which is really stupid because it's complete in box with manual and everything. Gave that to my son this afternoon or this evening, and he was just crazy. Not the last games that would come out, but the last really big release where you'd have like crazy, well-produced games, not the shovelware type stuff. Like any other year was more like Cartoon Network stuff.
I'm pretty sure that Minish Cap came out in 2005.
Did it? Okay, well maybe I'm thinking wrong.
Because the DS came out in
2004,
the end of 2005
or 2005. That's right.
Pretty sure it was the end of 2005, right around the time the Xbox 360.
No, I guess you're right. Maybe I have my years wrong, but I seem to remember this game coming out and not much else that I wanted to play really coming out after it. But yeah, just like Jay Cargoose saying in the chat room, it's pretty much like the arcade games. It's a side-scrolling beat 'em up. And it is so much fun. Played a little bit with my son this evening rather, and it is so good. And I got it for $10 at P&P Games, so check them out, pnpgames.com.
That's a great deal.
Very good deal. Very good deal. So yeah, that's about it. I've been playing a lot of stuff on my iPad and some other things, but yeah, that's about it for Nintendo. It's been Animal Crossing, man. I'm looking forward to Mario and Luigi Dream Team. Looking forward to Pikmin, which I said I would never buy Pikmin, but now I'm reading all the reviews and seeing all the early kind of like, I guess, first looks that are going up on YouTube, and it looks so good. It looks like it's short, people are saying, but it looks like it's going to be really fun. So I may have to pick that one up as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
It does look really, really good.
All right.
I have it pre-ordered now too.
Oh, do you?
Again. I had a pre-order and then I canceled it and I pre-ordered it again.
It's Nintendo, man. They can't let you go. They just keep reeling you back in, taking that money out your wallet.
They do, and I'm actually this close to canceling my PS4 pre-order because they still haven't announced anything that I want to play for it, and I think they would have by now if there was going to be anything in the first year.
Where did you pre-order it from?
Amazon.
Yeah, you can keep your pre-order right until before it comes out because they don't charge you until it actually ships, right? So yeah, I haven't pre-ordered it. I think I'm in the kind of wait and see mode. I was really hyped to get a PS3 on launch day, and maybe the Xbox One, but probably just the PS3.
PS4?
Or PS4. I keep saying PS3. It's so annoying. PS4. But I see what happens with the Wii U and the fact that I don't really play much on it anymore. I'm thinking, gee, how many games am I really going to play in the first year on my PS4?
Yeah.
Should I just wait a year? Of course, I do all these shows and I like to talk about new hardware. It's like, well, I kind of need a new system just to talk about it, but I don't know. I'm torn. I'm not going to pre-order it right now. So what I'm hoping is that all the pre-orders will dry up and then I'll have no excuse but to wait. But I'm pretty sure that it's not going to be in short supply anywhere. You'll probably be able to walk into a store the same week that it comes out and just go and pick one up. So I don't know. We'll see.
Just from the fact that Amazon keeps announcing that they're going to have more PS4s. Like, okay, we have more launch day guarantee PS4 bundles, and they just keep pumping them out. I mean, I guess Sony is not going to be doing the artificial demand inflating supply shortage, this time around. They probably want to make a real statement with their, outselling the entire Wii U install base in their first 24 hours. They're probably going for that,
which is probably possible.
I think it may be. I think it may be if these few games that are coming out in the next few months don't start pushing the Wii U sales up. I don't think it would be too hard for them to sell 5 million or so in the first day if they have them available.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's pretty sad. So yeah, I'm in a wait and see mode with my PS4. I own a PS3, so I don't have to talk about the PS3 anymore. But yes, I'm in a wait and see mode about my PS4.
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's crazy. We'll see what happens. All right, man. Let's get into the rest of the show. Let's get into notable releases. So Attack of the Friday Monsters: A Tokyo Tale came out. I've been seeing some pictures of it, and it looks very Pokemon-y. I don't really know much more about it, other than it's not a game that I'm probably ever going to own. So do you know a little more about it, Steven, that you want to mention?
Yeah, it's from Kazayabe, who did the series, the My Summer Vacation series of games, which were never actually released in the US. They're a PlayStation exclusive series. Tony says, I'm very excited for all those great AAA launch day PS4 games. I just don't think there's anything. There isn't anything on the PS4 that looks interesting to me yet. Right. Murder, Death, Kill. It's level 5 published. It takes place over the course of, I think, one day, whereas the My Summer Vacation games take place over the course of like an entire summer vacation. And I didn't really know anything about them, but I have this here as a prop, and I mentioned it to Lloyd earlier. I sponsored the Kickstarter for Ray Barnholt's Scroll magazine, issue number 10, and it's all about Kazayabe and the My Summer Vacation series.
Interesting.
Across the various PlayStation platforms and stuff like that. So I guess you play as a little boy in the early 70s who moves into a town where every Friday night the town is attacked by kaiju, giant Japanese monsters like Godzilla, and they all fight each other every Friday, and everyone in town just stands around and watches. So over the course of the day or whatever, which I guess the game is like 3 hours long. Over the course of the day, you are trying to unravel the mystery of these monsters. So it's a very kind of relaxed, slow moving kind of casual kind of a game. So some people are very excited about it. It's got some really good reviews and other reviews. Jeremy Parish at US Gamer reviewed it and said it's all right. So that's about where it's ending up, and its aggregate scores right around 77 or so.
Oh wow, that's pretty good. Maybe I'll have to look into it. It's not something that really piqued anything in my brain, but maybe I'll have to go check it out. How much is it? It's like $7.99.
$7, I think. $6.99, or it might be $7.99.
Huh, pretty cool. All right, so besides
very
that,
very different, weird kind of a game.
Yeah, but it sounds interesting. Definitely does. So besides that, we have release of Kid Icarus on the Wii U eShop for the Virtual Console, and Picross E2, which is a sequel to Picross E1 or Picross E or whatever they called it. So it's a downloadable $7 version of Picross. It gives you a big chunk of missions to complete and make pictures. I love Picross, so I'll probably own this at one point when there's nothing else to play on my 3DS. So in 2 years' time, when Animal Crossing isn't sucking 2 hours out of my life every single day. But yeah, Picross. Everybody loves Picross, so more of it is always a good thing.
Okay. I haven't played the first one.
Well, it's Picross, so I mean, you've played Picross before, right?
No. But I know how it works.
What? You haven't played Picross?
No, I haven't played Picross.
Dude, what's wrong with you? You need to get Picross on the DS.
That's a game for girls.
Oh my goodness.
I'm just kidding.
I'm going to play that back every episode.
You should do that.
One thing actually I forgot in my now playing is I'm actually playing the new Street Pass games a lot. And I'm really, really liking them. I got to the second floor on the ghost busting one. And
how cute. I'm on the fourth floor.
Oh, well, yeah. You street pass like multiple people every single day.
That's true.
At work and stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's a little bit tougher for me, but I'm trying. And growing all the flowers, and it's a lot of fun. I'm really digging it. I got a Link costume, so I was running around as Link today, which was kind of fun. And also got the severed head of Animal Crossing characters, which is always fun as well.
Yeah, it doesn't give you tickets. The tickets get fewer and further between, and I'm like watching all these hats pass me by in the little shop, and I'm like, oh,
I had a Zelda.
Liked that hat.
Well, I had a Zelda themed one for 2 days now. So it was a Zelda hat, a Link costume, a chicken hat, and some other one. I can't remember what it is. I think it was Zelda hair, Link costume, chicken hat, and maybe it's Majora's mask. No, I don't think that's it. I can't remember what it is, but it was the same thing for 2 days. So I've gotten 3 of the 4 just because I've been playing a lot and getting a lot of tickets. I street passed someone that had over 2,000 people in my. So when I did the Kingdom Conquest one, I got like 2,000 more people just by street passing that dude. It's like, wow, I need to hit that guy every single day. That would be really, really nice. But yeah, I've been enjoying it, man. Probably the best $15 I've played in the last little while. I really kind of dig it.
Yeah.
Chic, that's right. Thanks to Tony. Tweets by the Tony comes in and saves at the last second. It was Chic. That's the other hat that I did not get.
Yeah, so a friend of mine, one of the guys I tag pretty much every day, he's wearing the Chic hat all the time now.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I should get that one as well. Maybe it'll still be there tomorrow. I thought they changed every day, but I guess not.
They change every 24 hours, which is not necessarily every day at midnight. I think it's based on when you first launched the game or when you first installed it. Yeah, mine changes in the middle of the afternoon.
Foreman's talking about my severed head of Isabel. Yeah, it's so much fun. It was kind of scary. The first time I put it on, I'm like, that's a little bit crazy that I'm such a happy-go-lucky character that you love to talk to every single day. You're now wearing her pelt as a trophy.
Yep.
Bizarre.
Yep. Very cool.
All right, dude, let's get into the news. Let's talk about more Animal Crossing because we haven't talked enough about that in the last 2 months. Yeah. Nintendo stock is at its highest point in 2 years, which is great because they took a huge dive when they had to do the really deep bows for the 3DS, and then the Wii U not doing as well as they had hoped. It had been on a very downward spiral. People were wondering if Nintendo stock would ever recover. Well, apparently all you need to do is sell a lot of digital goods. Animal Crossing New Leaf has sold like crazy, over 500,000 copies. And then Donkey Kong Country Returns and Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon were also on the NPD's top 10 list. So Nintendo's selling a lot of stuff, and investors are going, oh, Nintendo still makes games that people want to play. Maybe we should support them and buy their stock. But Nintendo, I'm looking for the quote and I can't find it here, but there was a quote where they basically said that due to the brisk sales of Animal Crossing, we've been selling a lot of digital titles. So yeah, Animal Crossing's doing good things for Nintendo too. And it's not just going and collecting weird furniture for your house. It also makes your stock go up, apparently. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's surprising to me because I really thought that the title would be really kind of like an under the radar kind of a thing. But I guess I shouldn't be so surprised because the DS one sold 11 million copies.
Oh wow,
was that it?
It
was easily the highest selling version.
It was one of those long tail games like Mario Kart DS that sold forever. It was like wasn't Mario Kart like in the top 10 list for 3 years or something stupid? Like it sold like crazy forever. And Animal Crossing did the same thing. And yeah, it seems to be this one. Like I've talked to a lot of people and they're like, whatever. And then after about a month of everybody talking about Animal Crossing online and amongst their friend circles, they're like, yeah, I just picked up a copy and I wish I would have picked it up on launch. A couple of the game stores in town, they keep announcing on Twitter, it's like, oh, we got more stock on Animal Crossing New Leaf, because apparently they sell out as soon as they get more copies. So it's doing really good, which I mean is kind of a duh kind of reaction. But then at the same time, it's like, well, it could have been either way. It could have really gone either way because the Wii version of Animal Crossing didn't sell so well, and it wasn't a really good game at the end of the day.
Terrible game.
So
it was a shameless cash in.
Oh, totally. But you could get a nice little speaker microphone that you could put on top of your television. That was awesome.
Well, yeah, and I still have mine. I mean,
yikes,
it's right here. So,
oh my god,
it's hooked up to my Wii U.
Of course, you have it right beside you at all times.
Well, my TV and Wii U are right next to me.
Okay.
So is the PS3 and.
I'll forgive you this time, Steven. I'll forgive you this time. But yeah, Nintendo also talked about some titles that are coming out: Mario and Luigi Dream Team, Pokemon X and Y, and The Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds coming out, and they hope to move multiple units of those in the near future as well. So pretty good. Nintendo's doing really well, which is a good thing. Means they have more money. Means they can develop more stuff. Maybe hire more people, so they don't have to keep saying, if we had more developers, we could make more games. They could actually get out there and start hiring some people. Would be good too.
Yeah, I think one of the problems with Nintendo is, they absolutely need to grow their staff, but they have such an exacting standard on their stuff, and they're so protective of their IPs that it's like, I imagine that when they bring someone in, when they bring a new programmer in, they probably make them go through this intensive 6-month boot camp.
Remake the first Mario, remake the first Zelda, remake this, remake that, remake this, remake that. All right, now you can work.
Series of tweets. Have you been seeing this?
Yeah.
Let's remake Mario 1-1. He's had one earlier today that I was at work when I read it, and I wanted to fall on the floor. It was an Iron Man one for him, and he's like, "Oh, Iron Man," and was it Nick Cage? What's the other guy's name?
Yeah,
Nick Fury.
Nick Fury. I was like, that's Nick Cage is not right. Yeah,
right. That was really funny.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah. All right, moving on. So people in Japan that make independent games are upset at Nintendo, while the rest of the world seems to be happy. Nintendo announced during GDC at a questionnaire that the Japanese company is not accepting Wii U game pitches from independent game developers, which is a stark comparison to the rest of the world, because they're courting independent developers in North America like crazy. Like Towerfall which is huge on the Wii, on the Ouya. Nintendo approached them at GDC and wanted to give them a money hat to bring the game over to Nintendo. And a money hat to Nintendo is different than Sony and Microsoft's money hat, which is millions of dollars. Nintendo money hat is, here's a free dev kit. Come make the game. But yeah, they love independent developers in North America. Apparently, Japanese independent developers aren't getting any love over there. It makes me wonder what that's all about.
From the wording on that, I got the impression that this was Nintendo's way of saying, oh, we hadn't really thought of that.
Could be that too.
Which is like so many Nintendo quotes.
Yeah.
It's like,
the internet?
why isn't there online
what is this
play
internet thing?
Why isn't there online play in Smash Brothers? Oh. Oh, no, we haven't announced anything about that yet. It's like, we could do that? We could put online play in Animal Crossing? It's just, yeah, it's funny the way Nintendo does that stuff. It's like, half the time I just feel like it didn't occur to them.
Well, and they announced this week that there's going to be no story mode in Smash Brothers on the Wii U and 3DS. And the reason for that is because they were upset that all the movies leaked on YouTube from the Wii version. and gamers weren't surprised and amazed when they could just watch the video on the Wii. So instead, what we've done is we've made really good videos that people can share and won't spoil anything. So videos like the introduction to the Wii Fit trainer and the Animal Crossing guy. And it's just like, what? How does that even make sense? That is the most, like, because someone recorded something and put it online, you're not adding a game mode to a game. Nintendo. We love to make fun of you.
Oh, we couldn't put Peach as a playable character in New Super Mario Brothers because of that dress. We just couldn't get the dress right. So we decided to completely remove the character. It's like, okay. Okay.
It's so weird.
You do realize that 30 years ago, 25 years ago, Super Mario USA, Super Mario Brothers 2, had Peach in it.
Even better, you remember the game you stole and released it as Super Mario Brothers, and you just hacked in a bunch of other sprites? You got Peach in there. You didn't develop the whole game, and you still got it to work. Right. So if you develop the whole game, you probably have a little more latitude for these types of things. Nintendo. It's like they're like a company that takes their ball and go home. Like, it's like, well, yeah, fine. We're just going to take our ball and go home. But they don't do it in like a menacing way. It's just like a very innocent, like, oh, we didn't know. Right. It's just so bizarre. Oh, Nintendo.
It's like, I understand really why a portion of the gaming community really hates Nintendo because they are really fucking infuriating sometimes. You just want to like smack them in the head.
They're very passive aggressive sometimes, and it's just like,
it's weird. They just seem so naive and dim at times. But they still, I mean, to this day, it's 2013, and they've spent the last 30 years making some of my favorite video games, and they still do it today. I mean, Animal Crossing New Leaf, I've put more hours into this game than I think any other Nintendo game.
Yeah, it's so good. So good. Nintendo. Speaking of Nintendo, which is funny because it's a Nintendo podcast, Nintendo announced this week that there is a new promotion. And as soon as I saw the email, I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. If you could get up to $10 for free by adding funds to your eShop account. It's like, well, I kind of want to buy some stuff on the Wii U, so I'm going to add some funds to my Wii U account. And then I saw that if you add $50 to $99.99, you get $5 for free. Mm-hmm. And if you add $100 or more, you get $10. And then I decided to put my credit card away and say, yeah, not really needed. Don't need that 10% bonus from Nintendo. So it's good that they're doing stuff like this, but this one just is kind of it's a non-starter. It's just kind of lame.
Yeah.
Nintendo's
they need to about double that, and they need to lower the threshold.
Yeah, it should be you spend $50, you get $10. That makes more sense because I can buy iTunes cards regularly on sale. Get a $50 iTunes card for $40. That would be great.
Plumber's like, wait till your birthday when they send you a penny.
Oh, sweet. I don't have to wait for 33 years to get one free low-cost virtual console title. That's going to be great. Awesome. Cool. So yeah, add $100, get $10, 10% off. That's a pretty good deal, but not really. So Yay, Nintendo. You missed the mark, especially on the Wii U of all things. You want to encourage people to buy anything on the Wii U. Like,
yeah, they should be giving people like a $10 eShop credit just for buying the damn console.
They should give everybody, like, they should match up to the first $100. At $100, we'll give you $100. Go buy some titles, please. We want our sell-through numbers to be way up, but that'll never happen.
Yeah.
All right. So there's a whole bunch of rumors leading up to this week about Game Freak working on a new game, and is it going to be related to Pokemon? Oh, it's not going to be Pokemon. Oh, we don't know. Well, it was announced a couple days ago, and I don't know, Steven, are you looking forward to this game at all?
No.
Sorority Horse, which is
really.
it's a mixture between racing and solitaire, and it's going to be $5 essentially, and it's going to be shipped in Japan on July 31st. Oh, like, hype is good, but why are you hyping this? Other than the fact that it comes from Game Freak, I guess. I don't understand. So yeah, there was all this talk on, it's like, oh, there's going to be this new Pokemon battle game. There's going to be a Pokemon crossover. And no, it's just a horse racing game. Another lol Nintendo kind of moment. But I guess this maybe isn't a Nintendo game. Maybe it's just Game Freak doing it on their own, since they're a second party company. But I guess they can make their own games if they really wanted to, I would think, right?
Yeah, they're weird that way, that they're like, they're kind of part of Nintendo, but they're not. I mean, it's like Nintendo owns the Pokemon IP.
It's like what Rare used to do, right?
Sort of, yeah. But what's weird is, like, there's even Pokemon games that are not on Nintendo platforms. Like, they put one on iOS.
Yeah, well, it's not a game. It's the Pokemon Pokedex is on iOS.
It's still
but
Pokemon software.
Yeah, which is Nintendo, like, a couple weeks before the game that app hit, Nintendo said we'd never release something on iOS. We're staying true to our platform. And then next thing you know, the Pokemon company releases Pokedex on iOS like 3 weeks later, or $10 or whatever. Just like, what are you doing? No, Nintendo. But yeah, Game Freak's kind of they're far enough away from Nintendo that they can do what they want, I guess. And part of that is a horse racing game that they hyped like crazy on Twitter. Yes. All right. Okay. Moving on to something.
I heard Drill Dozer was good. I didn't buy that either.
Yeah, true enough. Drill Dozer actually was really good. That was a good game. All right. Moving on to something a little more exciting. Miyamoto had an interview this week, and he basically came out and said that they are thinking about DLC for Pikmin 3. Mm-hmm. And they're thinking about it. They're not announcing anything. But when Miyamoto says that we're thinking of something, or when he references anything, that means that they're in active development and it's about ready to come out. So it sounds like people are complaining about the short time frame that it takes to beat Pikmin 3. Maybe Nintendo's reacting to that a little bit and maybe talking about coming out with some DLC for the game. So what do you think, Foreman? Do you think this is, or Foreman, Stephen Munn? I shouldn't read the chat room and talk at the same time. It gets really dangerous. So what do you think, Stephen? Do you think it's going to come out? You think DLC was in the plan all along and they're just kind of being coy? Or do you think this is just something that they're looking at now because of early complaints from Japan and Europe?
I think that if the game sells reasonably well and they think that they can add something useful to the game that they feel that they can charge for, there's no reason for them not to do it. And what are they going to do? Like, more... Get out of my chair, man.
That's funny.
I mean, what are they really going to add, though? I mean, are they going to add new multiplayer modes? Are they going to add new
modes,
Pikmin, new levels?
Probably new levels.
I'd be cool with that. I mean, I don't know. I saw at least one review complaining that the game was too short, which I think is kind of a dumb complaint. I guess they're saying, "Oh, it's too short. It's only 8 to 10 hours." I don't know. I mean, maybe these young kids these days have a lot more extra time and don't feel like doing any of the multiplayer stuff. I mean,
I guess that could be part of it. I read a review where the reviewer beat it in about 5 hours, admitting that they only got about half the fruit. It's like, well, then you did beat the game, because to get the good ending, you have to get 100% completion. So go back and replay some of the stuff.
It's not a speed run.
Yeah, exactly. So Yeah, people complain about that type of stuff, but then people also complain when the game's too long. I heard a lot of people complaining that Last of Us was like 16 hours, and they're like, "Oh, it's too long." It's like, well, that was a really good 16 hours. Not every game has to be 5 hours. Not every game has to be 45 hours.
Right.
There's a happy medium for pretty much any title. 6 to 8 hours, 6 to 10 hours, 8 to 10 hours, whatever. That is good for me. I play a lot of games, and if I have to spend an extra 10 hours of filler to get through a game, I'm actually more upset than if the game finished at 6 hours.
Yeah.
So DLC sounds good, as long as it's not like DLC like Luigi U, which is like, here, give us $20 and we'll reskin your game with a bunch of new stuff. While that was cool, it would be cooler if it was something like Fire Emblem, where you get levels that you can buy onesie twosie. You like the sound of this one, so you pick this one up. That would be pretty fun.
Yeah, it looks like Nintendo is exploring a lot of different options for DLC. They seemed really resistant to the idea at first, but now they seem to be jumping in on just about everything. So,
Yep.
I mean, if they're putting, if you say so, Tony. I didn't like New Super Mario U, so yeah. I mean, I figure they're experimenting at this point. I mean, if they're putting DLC into their Mario games, then they've embraced it completely.
Yeah.
It's kind of like with Steel Diver. They made Steel Diver into, they're talking about making that into a free to play because it's a shit IP that means nothing to Nintendo.
And it should have been free to play to begin with, because it took like 2 hours to beat the entire game.
Yeah.
It was.
I got it for $5 and I still haven't opened it.
Oh, you got ripped off. Yeah.
Free shipping. $5 free shipping.
Oh, okay.
So, they probably spent more shipping it to me than I spent purchasing it. So,
yikes.
Yeah.
Cool.
So.
All right, moving on. Speaking of expensive, there's a report coming out of the UK that if you look on Ubisoft's website, but you have to be in the UK to get to the right website, because if you go from North America, you get the Canadian or the US Ubisoft site. But apparently, Rayman Legends is being listed weird. So the 360, PS3, and PC versions are listed at £25. The Vita version is £30.
That's a heavy box.
Yes, that is very heavy. And the Wii U version is £40. So £15, so almost $30 more. The Wii U version is than the 360 when you look at exchange rates. How does that even make sense? That would be so £25.
They're charging per screen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we had to develop on the second screen. Just forget the fact that it was done first, and we were forced to hold off on it and make all these other versions. But so
it's been accruing interest.
Yeah, exactly.
Meanwhile, my interest has been diminishing.
Yeah, ooh, there you go. That was it. That was the joke.
Well, a few more minutes anyway.
So the 360 version, when it comes to US, will probably be $40, maybe $39 or $29.99. But if you look at the conversion rates, the Wii version is going to be about $10 to $15 more expensive when it hits North America. So maybe it'll be $50, and then everything else will be $40. I find that hard to believe and highly unlikely, but that's what's being listed right now on the Ubisoft UK website. I don't know. Doesn't make sense unless they're really wanting to make a statement that the Wii U is stupid and they don't want to make any more games for it. So let's make a game for it, not ship it, put it up there for a price that's too high so we never have to ship a version. So they could have it listed somewhere and just like make 10 of them and put them in the back of someone's office and ship them out as they need. Like it seems really weird, especially when this game was done already and ready to go to pressing, but they decided to hold it back.
Yeah. And this isn't without precedent, though. I mean, for Ubisoft or for the Rayman franchise, because I don't know if you remember this, but when Rayman Origins came out, the Wii version was $10 cheaper than the 3DS and the 360 and PS3 versions.
Yep.
And it was the same game; it just wasn't in HD.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe they're figuring the more expensive hardware or the newer hardware, higher end hardware. I mean, we all know PS3 and 360 are last gen. I don't think people are even playing those anymore.
Oh no!
Everybody's moved on to this next gen, the Wii U now.
They're waiting at their mailboxes for their pre-orders to arrive.
They are. So I mean, with PS3 and 360, they have to lower the price a little because they want people to actually buy those. Dust off their dusty PS3 and 360 consoles that aren't getting any use. I mean, Nobody bought The Last of Us or
No.
Ni no Kuni, as I understand.
They're really doing those people
Halo
a favor.
4. Is Halo 4 the last thing that came out for 360?
Did that even come out yet? I can't remember. I mean,
I think it came out a couple of years ago.
Didn't the horse
and I
armor
think
just come
that
out for Oblivion?
Right, and I think the DuckTales game is coming out for 360 as well. But I think that version is missing some levels or something because they don't have the capacity.
No, it's such an old system. It's unbelievable.
Sure.
Yeah, it could be that
2005. I mean, it's old as the Game Boy Advance, or Nintendo DS.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
It could be something as simple as maybe Nintendo has minimum price points on their console. Like maybe there's some sort of agreements that you have.
No,
and there's flexibility for everything else.
Funky Barn wasn't Funky Barn like $30?
There's a game called Funky Barn on the Wii U?
Funky Barn was one of the Wii U's premier launch titles. You don't remember Funky Barn?
I don't remember Funky Barn.
Check out the Funky Barn Miiverse.
I tend to not like.
It is amazing.
I tend to not like going in barns that are a little funky. I tend to steer clear.
I think it's a mini game collection.
Shovelware garbage.
So shovelware garbage. The Miiverse posts are priceless.
Oh, really?
They're absolutely amazing. They're so funny.
Foreman says if they hurry up with Funky Barn 2, they can still make the launch window.
They can, because Pikmin's a launch window. Pikmin 3 is a launch window.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Doesn't know Nimoy, doesn't know Funky Barn. That's right. Sorry, I don't.
You have to check the Miiverse community. Promise me.
I will.
You will check the Funky Barn Miiverse community.
I'll check it out. It sounds familiar, but I bought a couple. I bought 3 games at launch or 4 games at launch, and sadly, Funky Barn wasn't on my radar for some strange reason.
That's the low price point. You know.
I bought Spider-Man for
$30,
and that was a low price point. I was happy about that.
Why did you do that?
Because my kids like Spider-Man.
Okay, well, buy them a Dreamcast and Spider-Man for Dreamcast.
Yeah, or I could buy them.
Trying to trigger Foreman here. Last time I mentioned Dreamcast.
I
see his name is red. He's saying something. Why are you playing Dreamcast? It is 2013.
I could hook up my PS1 and find a copy of Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man for PS1, which is really awesome. And that would be a better game for him to play. But no, he wanted it, so we picked it up and it was cheap. Eye roll. There you go.
I have my Sega Genesis. I have Spider-Man for Sega Genesis as well.
Oh, there you go.
That's a great game. The first Spider-Man that came out for Sega Genesis,
actually,
91.
I just bought my son's Spider-Man on the DS. Spider-Man 3, I think it was. So he already had Spider-Man, and we got him in more Spider-Man. I think he bamboozled me, convinced me to get him something that I shouldn't have. But yeah, not gonna be playing Funky Barn. I'll go check out the Miiverse thing though. You say it's so much fun. Right, Steven, Kickstarter.
Yeah,
let's talk about
Shadow of the Eternals.
Let's talk about Shadow of the Eternals again.
Our generation's Duke Nukem Forever.
yeah. So they launched a Kickstarter, or they launched an Indiegogo. Was it Indiegogo, or they just do it something on their own website? I think they might have just done something on their own website, right?
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think through their own
people
website.
flew off the handle because they said, we will take all your money, even if we don't hit our $1 million goal or whatever the goal was, but we'll put it towards development. And everyone's like, no, we're not giving you money just to hold on. Like this isn't what it is. Use a service, use Kickstarter. Oh, we have legal problems with Kickstarter and we have some issues. And then 3 days later, they have a Kickstarter that's been fired up, and it takes a long time to get a Kickstarter approved. So that was probably in the works. But anyway, they fire up a Kickstarter, and it doesn't even raise half the money that they wanted. And this is for Shadow of the Eternals. This is what's the name? What's the name of the company?
Precursor?
Precursor is the one, but what's the old company? Dennis Dyak's old company. Silicon Knights. Silicon Knights went belly up. They had a lawsuit. All this great stuff happened. It made for some really good reading online. Dennis Dyack basically just shutters the company, and next thing you know, he's part of another startup down the road called Precursor, and then they're trying to basically come up with this game called Shadow of the Eternals. Original Kickstarter fails, and now they've just put it back on Kickstarter, and they're not focusing on what they think they should be doing based on other Kickstarters. They're doing what makes sense to them as a company, was one of the quotes that I read today, which is...
Right.
What does that even
Which
mean?
is, first of all, firing their child porno guy. They fired him.
Right.
Co-founder Ken McCulloch.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Arrested and charged with the possession and distribution of child pornography earlier this month.
Ugh.
Yes. And the CEO says, he's no longer affiliated in any way with the studio. They kicked him out. Yeah. So
I should hope not. So anyway, another Kickstarter just hit for Shadow of the Eternals, which is the spiritual successor to Eternal Darkness, which is a really great game on the GameCube. Or on the Game. Yeah, was it on the GameCube?
Yes, it was on the GameCube. It finally arrived on the GameCube,
which was really good.
Yes. Yeah, it took a couple generations, but it arrived on the GameCube.
But they're asking for $750,000 now. Interesting. I don't know what to say about this. I want to play the game kind of just to see what it's all about and see if it really is something special. But I don't know if they're going to hit this one. Although I looked earlier today and they were like $10,000 and I kind of snickered a little bit, or maybe it was $50,000. It was some lower amount. I just looked now and they're over $90,000 of $750,000. So, I mean, they're getting up there and they still have like 29 days to go. So this could potentially happen. Looks like they're wanting to launch on Wii U and Windows 8 is what they have the logos up here, which is kind of an odd collection of platforms. That doesn't really make sense. But Dennis Dyack wants more money from people to make a game, and maybe this game will come up. And I'm sure there's going to be lots more lulls to be had as this whole thing works its way through the 29 days that are left over. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of great sound bites and interviews that will come out of this thing. So I want to read that. So I'm kind of happy about it.
Yeah, it's. I'm figuring they cut it down to 750,000 now, and this is going to be a lower poly, lower quality, shorter Shadow of the Eternals game. And then when this one doesn't make it, they're going to cut it down to 500,000, and it's going to be a fighting game featuring the characters.
And that one won't make it. And what they're actually going to be doing is coming out with a homebrew Atari 2600 cartridge, where you basically have to shoot bats with your stick figure.
I figured at 250,000, it becomes a puzzle game.
Match 3
puzzle game with faces of the characters, and then it goes down to 100,000 and there's no faces. It's just solid colors.
And then at 50,000, they'll basically repackage the tech demo that they made for the GameCube with the suit of armor and that thing, and you can walk around that'll be the last thing they'll want to do.
You dress your me in it.
Oh boy, Silicon Knights
text adventure.
That'd be good too.
A poorly spelled text adventure, like filled with typos and references to how cool Dennis Dyack is.
One console
Everybody's
features.
name is some variant on Dennis Dyack.
Yeah, that would be
one
good.
console features.
Let's talk about one console features and damn Epic for sinking our company. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I just want to see kind of the aftermath of all this, because it's made for some good reading over the last few years. Like probably the best thing that had ever happened was when Dennis Dyack was on One Up Yours way back in the day. And he just like melted down about the one console feature and how Too Human was going to be the best game ever, and it's a trilogy, and it's just it was such amazing. Like you could basically see the meltdown happening right in front of you, or you could hear the meltdown happening right in front of you. And I'm wanting for something else similar to that to happen. I'm sure Dennis Dyack's being kept at in a PR person's noose right now, so that won't happen. But I hope and dream. And we'll see what happens. If you wanted to back Shadow of the Eternals and you were mad when... I'm not going to look at the chat room. If you wanted to back Shadow of the Eternals and you did, and they canceled it and you got upset, you can now go back and throw your money at this new company. And hopefully this game will come out, because I am honestly curious and wanting to play it. But I'm just more excited about the crazy stories that will happen because of it. All right, Steven, you had a rumor for us this week.
Yeah, arguing with Foreman in the chat room about Too Human, because that's not
a rumor. That's really happening right now.
Yeah,
that's not a rumor.
But the rumor that I mentioned was this rumor that there's a rumor that Nintendo may be in talks to acquire Atlas, and what's happened is Atlas has recently announced that they are pretty much fucked, and Nintendo has been doing a lot of work with Atlas lately. So that's the Foreman. We know how Foreman feels about this. Nintendo has been doing a lot of work with Atlas lately. I think they published Shin Megami Tensei 4
Yep.
for Atlas, and they've done a few other things with them too. So they're doing the Fire Emblem
Cross.
SMT Cross Fire Emblem,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So they're doing that one together and stuff like that. So, given the amount of interaction that the studios are already having, there are a lot of people who are thinking that this is going to that this is going to save Atlas, that that Nintendo will take them on as a second party or as part of the first party. And I think that the more I think about that, the more I think it's a good idea, because not only would it give them some experienced developers who make very popular games. The Persona series sells very well, particularly in Japan. Persona, it could be especially good for Nintendo because it would take the Persona games away from Sony. And Persona 4 Golden, I believe, is the top-selling title in all regions for PlayStation Vita.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. And if, it's already been out long enough where probably everyone who's going to buy it has already bought it. But I think it would be a big, punch in the gut for the Sony platforms for Nintendo to pick it up. And I don't think that alone is enough of a reason for Nintendo to make the investment in saving a company like Atlas that is clearly struggling. But I think that there's a lot of skill.
Sure.
A lot of really, really good skill at Atlas, and Atlas has a lot of really popular IPs. And
Sure.
I think that could do more for Nintendo than Monolith has done.
Yeah, and it'll also allow them to then have rights to all their old games. Not that they have a huge, amazing library. I just did a Google search because I remember playing Atlas games on the Super Nintendo, but I couldn't remember what they were. And I found the one game that I played, and it was horrible. It was a fighting game called Power Instinct. It was basically like a Street Fighter ripoff kind of thing. It was terrible. It even looks like Street Fighter with like the same sort of life bars and things like that. So yeah, maybe that's not such a great win for Nintendo. but yeah, I mean, it would give them the ability to do other things like I don't know, maybe Atlas made some really great games for the NES. Maybe let's look these up. Wacky Races, which is great. Widgets, Rockin' Cats, or Golf Grand Slam. All right, another loss there. So Atlas didn't make good games in the 8 and 16-bit era, so they're not going to win that. But yeah, their newer stuff. I mean, Shin Megami Tensei, if they could keep releasing those, and they could have Fire Emblem games and Shin Megami games come out, kind of one come out every year, one come out another year, and go back and forth. Some of their other properties.
Am I wrong, or didn't they make what is it? I got to do a search for this. It's a series of RPGs that they just had a new one that came out.
They did the Trauma Center games, I remember, back in the day. What else did they do? A Train Odyssey.
Yeah, didn't they do that Train Odyssey series?
Yeah, they did. I'm just going to hit their Wikipedia
And they just
page.
had a new one that came out recently. Yeah, it's an Atlas game.
Oh, they did 3D Dot Game Heroes, which was a Nintendo game anyway, so that would make sense.
That game was kind of junk, though.
It was, but it was Nintendo. It was Zelda. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, Dungeon Crawler, Etrian Odyssey. That series.
Ogre
they
Battle.
just released the fourth one for
Odin Sphere
Ogre Battle.
and Ogre Battle. Oh my
Odin
goodness,
Sphere.
that's right.
Oh yeah, and Muramasa.
Muramasa, yeah, that's right. Oh, this could be really good. Of course, Nintendo will take this and bury them. So, yeah. And they're coming out with Dragon's Crown, so Nintendo could have really large, overdone breasts on their console in a first-party published title. That would be really great.
Yeah.
Yikes. So yeah, I don't know. I heard that rumor as well. It kind of really makes sense because Nintendo has pretty much been the company that's been propping them up over the last little while, like publishing their games, giving them a console to really release titles on. Like Atlas RPGs are doing really well on the 3DS.
Yep,
kind of makes sense. I could see this happening. To be honest, I don't think it will, but I could see a world where this would happen, and it wouldn't really surprise me that much.
Yeah, and I mean, people have rumored things like this in the past, like, oh, Nintendo is going to buy Capcom, Nintendo is going to buy Konami. There've been things like this in the past, and I don't think I ever bought any of those. They didn't make any sense to me. I couldn't see Nintendo doing it. But just in the context of everything they've been doing. Tony says he liked rocking cats. I mean, it really does make sense, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happened.
Yep, exactly.
I'd be pleased because of things like Muramasa, things like Odin Sphere.
Like, it would be great for Nintendo to release more RPGs. I mean, I would be happy with that.
Although, you know what? I think those may have been developed by Vanillaware and published by
that
Atlas.
makes a little bit of sense. Maybe
because Atlas did a lot of publishing.
But do they own the IP?
Maybe
they own the IP when they publish it. Maybe they wrote those deals. Yeah, hard to say. But yeah, it could be interesting. We'll see what happens. Hopefully this plays out. Hopefully Atlas doesn't go under. I know there's a lot of hate in the chat room right now for Atlas, but I mean, they make some okay games, and I'd rather have a lot of okay game makers than a lot more EAs and Activisions.
Yes.
I like the little guys to come up with some more innovative little titles, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's hard not to really root for Atlas because a lot of their business has been based around taking obscure Japanese RPGs, localizing them, and publishing them in the US. You know, doing really short runs of these games so that they could kind of break even, maybe turn a little bit of a profit. They've been doing something really, really good for a very long time for the gaming community, and it's hard to hate on a company that does that. There's a lot of risk involved. They did it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Cool. All right, moving on. Let's get to our last story. And I played a track of theirs at the top of the show, and just wanted to let you guys know that a local group, a game cover band, just came out with their first album. I guess they've had EPs and things before, but this is, I believe, their first actual album that they're releasing for sale. They're called Super Effects. They're a local game band, game cover band, and they play a lot of Nintendo stuff. Their first album's available on Bandcamp. It's $10. It is heavy, and it is awesome. These guys are crazy talented. So definitely check it out. And I'll be, what do you say, Steven? Should I play some DuckTales?
The Sonic one.
The
Sonic? Do the DuckTales one. That one was
DuckTales. Or how about the Mega Man one was really good too.
Oh, it was.
Or Double Dragon, or Star Fox. There's so many good things on the actual album.
Star Fox on the intro.
That's right. Star Fox, Double Dragon, Mute City from F-Zero, Big Blue from F-Zero, Duke Nukem, Mega Man 2 medley, Street Fighter intro, Cammy stage, Guile stage, Ken stage, Contra, Sonic / Resident Evil medley, Halo, Punch Out, and DuckTales. Those are the tracks on there.
Can I somehow buy all the songs except the Halo one?
You could download the whole album and then delete that track.
Okay.
Or you could
guess that's okay.
Or you could buy the whole album individually. So you're paying $14 for the 14 of the 15 tracks, or you could just buy the 10 one.
Okay.
No
so
Animal Crossing.
if I buy the 14, will they get an email saying this guy bought everything except Halo?
You could put in the notes, "Die Halo Die." I will delete it as soon as it hits my hard drive, and that might make them giggle a little
this
bit.
is $10 Canadian though. That's probably like $50 here, isn't it?
No, you got your money's worth more than ours now. It would probably be about $9.97.
Oh my
US.
God, that's an unbelievable savings.
Yeah, 3 pennies.
Is it enough where I can avoid buying the Halo one and still come to $10? You think?
Come on, 3 cents. That's like 3 Nintendo birthdays. It's great.
3 Nintendo birthday presents. Very nice.
Cool. So what should we do? Chat room? Any the ones that I said? Any takers? Anything? I'm just gonna randomly play one because this is going on way too long.
Yeah, play the Duke Nukem one. That's one that everyone will freaking recognize.
Prometheus is asking what's the name of the album. It's called Press Start by Super Effects. It's on Bandcamp, and we'll put notes in the show notes so you can link over and pick it up. And
I'll also paste it in the chat room. So
there you go.
Buy it right now.
Definitely. Sonic. Okay, we'll play Sonic.
Sonic it is.
So there we go. Guys, thanks for tuning in to yet another Nintendo Pulse podcast. We love hearing from you. Head on over to vgpodcast.com and let us know what you think of the show. Email us directly at vgpodcast@gmail.com or call our voicemail line, area code 505-VG-Podcasts. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to play your voicemails in future episodes of the show. Steven, thanks again for joining me.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And talking about fun things like Attack of the Friday Monsters and
Earthbound.
Atlas and Earthbound. Yeah, that as well. All right, guys, take it easy. We'll talk to you in about 1 week's time. Until then, get out there and play your Wii U. Let Nintendo know that people are actually using this console. I think they're kind of scared that they're all sitting in stores. And most of them probably are. Yikes. All right, guys, take it easy.